Then came the first strange noise. It happened when everyone was winding down, sitting around the living room, talking in small groups. I was in the kitchen again, leaning against the counter, when I heard a loud bang, followed by muffled shouting. It sounded like it came from the farthest room down the hall, a room I had never seen open before. Jason appeared at the end of the hall, his smile wide and his eyes cold. But it was the way he looked at me that made me feel like I was being watched, analyzed. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Reddit Stories video. Today, we're diving into some spine-chilling tales straight from Reddit. I'll keep this intro short because we've got plenty of stories to get through. These are perfect to watch or listen to while you're studying, relaxing, falling asleep, or just in the mood for something spooky. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy these amazing stories, so be sure to stick around till the end. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're on a mission to hit 1,000 subscribers, and with your support, I know we'll get there soon. So, go ahead and join the community. Now let's jump right into this terrifying story from Reddit. Pledging a frat has been weirder than expected. I didn't expect to rush a fraternity. Coming from a small town, I'd always seen Greek life as a bit of a cliché. Drunken parties, exclusive cliques, and a lot of posturing. But when I arrived at college, I found myself wanting more. I wanted to feel like I belonged somewhere. I wanted to be part of something bigger. That's when I heard about them. The fraternity everyone whispered about. Popular, well-connected, with a reputation for being a little more elite than the others. They didn't need to advertise. You either knew about them or you didn't. The guys were charismatic and welcoming, and when they invited me to rush, I figured, why not? The first few days were exactly what you'd expect from a rush week. Icebreakers, meet and greets, parties with too much alcohol, and promises of a brotherhood that would last a lifetime. The guys in the frat were exactly as I imagined. Charming, confident, funny. They threw the best parties, no doubt about it. The house was massive, one of those old, well-maintained mansions with high ceilings and rooms filled with antique furniture. It had character, and everyone in it seemed to belong. Jason, the president, was the first brother I met. He was charismatic, almost too much so. You couldn't help but feel like you were the most important person in the room when he spoke to you. He greeted me with a handshake that felt more like a seal of approval than a casual greeting. "You'll fit in great here," he said, flashing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes, but I brushed it off. I was just overthinking it. This was college. Everyone was trying to make a good impression. The parties were incredible. Drinks flowed freely, the music was loud, and the vibe was electric. I started to see why people loved being a part of this fraternity. It wasn't just about the parties. There was something about the atmosphere, the sense that you were in on something exclusive, something that not everyone could access. It felt like a secret society, and I was finally being let in. It wasn't until I was extended a bid that things began to feel strange. The first night after I was officially a pledge, I went to the house for a Welcome to the Brotherhood party. It was just the pledges and the brothers this time, no outside guests. I'd been looking forward to it, excited to start my journey into fraternity life. But the vibe was different this time. The music was still loud, the drinks still flowing. But there was an edge to it. Like everyone was a little too tense, a little too eager. I started to notice that the brothers were acting strange. They were still the same guys, but there was something in their eyes, something in the way they looked at me, like they were waiting for something, watching me, expecting something. Every time I spoke to one of them, they'd smile a little too wide or laugh a little too hard, like they were testing me. After a few hours, the party began to die down. The guests slowly filtered out, leaving just the brothers and the pledges. The house felt quieter, emptier. It was like the energy had shifted. I went to the kitchen to grab another drink and noticed a few of the brothers whispering in a corner, their voices low, hushed. I couldn't make out what they were saying, but it didn't seem normal. When I looked around the house, everything felt off. The hallways were darker now. The rooms seemed further apart, like the house was stretching as I moved through it. I had to shake off the feeling, remind myself that this was just my mind playing tricks on me. Then came the first strange noise. It happened when everyone was winding down, sitting around the living room talking in small groups. I was in the kitchen again, leaning against the counter, when I heard a loud bang, followed by muffled shouting. It sounded like it came from the farthest room down the hall, a room I had never seen open before. I hesitated. I didn't want to seem nosy, but curiosity got the better of me. I walked down the hall, my steps slow, cautious. The door to the room was closed, locked. I could feel the sound of movement inside, like someone was pacing back and forth, scraping something against the walls. But when I tried the handle, it wouldn't budge. It was like the room didn't want me to open it. I stepped back, unsure of what to do. The noise stopped as suddenly as it had started, and a few moments later I heard footsteps approaching from behind me. Jason appeared at the end of the hall, his smile wide and his eyes cold. But it was the way he looked at me that made me feel like I was being watched, analyzed. "Everything okay?" he asked, his voice too smooth. "Yeah, just thought I heard something," I said, trying to sound casual. Jason laughed, clapping me on the shoulder with a force that made me stumble slightly. "The house is old, man. It makes noises. You get used to it after a while." He paused, glancing back at the door. "Just don't go in there. It's off limits for a reason." I nodded, but his words stuck with me. "Don't go in there." There was something about the way he said it, like it was a rule that wasn't just about the house, but something else, something unspoken. The parties continued as usual. On the surface, everything seemed normal. But the more I spent time in the house, the more I noticed things that didn't sit right with me. The brothers always seemed to be in groups, never alone. When they talked to me, they asked questions that didn't make sense. Questions about my past, about my family, about my deepest fears. They weren't trying to get to know me. It felt like they were testing me, probing to see if I was ready for something. The locked room, the one with the strange noises, remained off limits. Every time I passed it, I could hear things. Sometimes it was shouting, sometimes it was whispers, sometimes just scratching, like something was trying to get out. I asked a few of the other pledges about it, but they all gave me the same answer. "Don't worry about it. You'll find out soon enough." That was the most unsettling part of it all. They didn't seem curious about the room, didn't seem bothered by it. It was just accepted. A week before Hell Night, things took a turn. The brothers called us together, all the pledges, and gave us a rundown of what to expect during Hell Week. It wasn't anything extreme, not like some of the horror stories I had heard from other frats. But still I felt this unease hanging in the air. It was almost like a collective tension, like everyone knew something was coming. Jason explained it casually, as though it were just another part of the process. Hell Week and Hell Night are important. It's about proving you're ready to join the Brotherhood. Don't worry, it's not going to be anything crazy. I wanted to believe him, I really did. But his smile, that tight smile, didn't make me feel reassured. It made my stomach turn. You'll do a few challenges, push yourself a little. Maybe some stuff you're not expecting, he continued, almost too casually. It's all part of the tradition. Just remember to stay calm, stay focused, and don't freak out. I looked around the room at the other 15 or so remaining pledges. Some of them were grinning nervously, others just staring blankly, as though they had already seen the things we'd be doing. Jason's tone had remained light, but something about the way he said "don't freak out" made my skin crawl. Later that night, the brothers gathered us for the first round of hazing. It was subtle at first. They made us do things like walk through dark hallways blindfolded, test our limits with small discomforts. But it wasn't the tasks themselves that unsettled me. It was the atmosphere in the house, the silence between the challenges, the strange way the brothers watched us, always standing in groups, never speaking to one another directly, as though communicating in ways we couldn't understand. We were told to be ready for more on Hell Night. They made it sound like a joke, nothing we couldn't handle, but the tension in the air was thick. I'm sitting in my dorm room now, trying to convince myself that it'll be fine. That Hell Night will be just like any other college tradition. Uncomfortable, maybe a little weird, but nothing dangerous. Nothing that's going to change the way I see the brothers or the house. But I know deep down that I'm lying to myself. Hell Night is coming, and I'm starting to think I'm not ready for what they have planned. Thanks for sticking around till the end. I hope you enjoyed this horrifying Reddit story as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any future uploads. Let me know in the comments which part gave you the chills, or share your own spooky experiences. I'd love to hear them. That's all for today. Stay safe, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.